What's up, runners? I'm Holly from The Run Experience, and today we are talking about running safety. The moment you step outside your door, you are exposing yourself to a variety of elements, whether you want to acknowledge that or not. And so today we're going to get really deep into practical things you can do, as well as a few things you may not have heard of around keeping yourself safe on your runs. Let's get started. Thank you to Aftershokz headphones for bringing you this video. Now, as far as running safety goes, from the moment you leave your house to go on that run, you are exposing yourself to a whole myriad of elements, whether that's weather, it's dark, it's cold, there are other people driving cars, riding bikes all around, and number one is you need to be visible. What can you do to stand out to make sure you don't get injured or hurt when it's under your control? So let's start with a couple of my favorite reflective things. These are great to wear and make yourself really be seen in any type of weather or darker light. So if you're running late at night or early in the morning, these are super important. First one's going to be this reflective vest. This is great, especially because if you have cars around or anything with lights, as soon as those hit, these reflective straps, which this entire thing has on it, this just clips on here, you will immediately be seen. This is right on the torso, which is important. Additionally, for this one, you can actually hit the button back here and these will light up different colors. So it should make it super obvious to anyone riding their bike or driving the car near you. That's important. Other couple reflective things, there are straps you can get. Just little Velcro straps you can put on your arms or on your legs around your ankles. Other ways to stand out, especially if you're going to be in dark clothes. You can use a headlamp, which is great, especially if you are going to be looking for pathway in front of you and maybe it's not lit overhead if you're out on the trails. This is a great one for at least making yourself visible, but also making the trail visible to you. This one lasts a long time with the battery, and it also has different modes where it can flash or just hold a steady light. Last thing is, if you're going to be carrying water with you and you have a hydration vest, make sure that either the vest or the water bottle, if you're going handheld, has some reflective striping on here too. Anything helps with this. So really any of that reflective gear can help you be seen, and that is going to be key for staying visible, especially in the dark. Now, if you don't want to take all this gear with you or add extra things onto what you're holding or carrying, just make sure that you're wearing something that's going to make you seen by a car or a bike. Because at the end of the day, in that last couple of miles of your run or the last few minutes when you're tired, you want to do everything you can to make sure that it's their job to see you and you don't have to be looking out for where you're going as much. So a couple things you can get is just some nice bright clothing. So like a nice reflective jacket or just an outer layer is great. A lot of athletic clothing has reflective striping on it, or you can actually buy reflective tape. You can just add a couple stripes on there. So your clothing alone, you definitely have options there. Just make sure that in some way you are making sure that you're being seen at night or early in the morning. Next thing I want to talk about is, after you're making sure you're being visible, what can you do to keep yourself prepared should you encounter any other people on your run? And what I mean by that is, say you're out on the trail or in the park and you're by yourself, and again, maybe it's not a ton of people out, it's really early or it's really late. Have something with you where you feel protected, because again, your energy is being depleted as you go longer and longer on this run. Maybe your self-defense isn't going to be as high alert as it usually is. So I highly recommend carrying a small thing of pepper spray or mace. That will at least make you feel like you've got something to defend yourself with. A whistle is a great idea, because if anyone is around and you're able to go a couple sharp blasts on that, you'll get some help right away. And having your phone with you too, especially if there's cell service, is always a great way to feel protected when you're alone running.
Gang, it is dark, let me tell you, and it's about darker than normal, because literally this morning as we're filming this, daylight savings just kicked in. That means that I am in essence up an hour earlier than normal running, which means I'm plunged back into that winter darkness, and I gotta really think about being safe again on these early morning runs. So I got my green light with me. I hooked this onto the back of my head, so I'm just using this just for a little light here so you can see my face. And then of course I am out early. I want to stay motivated in my run, so I am listening to a podcast. I'm listening to an interview with Cliff Averill, who's like a former Seattle Seahawk. Really cool conversation. I like, listening to different things like that. But anyway, I'm about to do some 800 meter repeats. So I got my headphones in. I'll switch to music. I love my Aftershokz headphones. These are the Trex model. They're nice and light. They hook around my ears. I can hear runners and cyclists as they come. Anyway, let's get back to this video with Holly. I'm gonna keep running. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Okay, so you've made sure you're visible. You're making sure that if you have anything to do with it, you are going to be seen by that car, the bus, the bike, everything you have in control you're doing. Now let's talk about what can happen if you are out there running alone in somewhere maybe secluded at night or in the morning when less people are around, but maybe the wrong people you could come in contact with. How can you protect yourself against that? One of the things that's really important, especially if you have cell service, is to carry your phone with you. There are so many ways that this can help you, obvious reasons and then some less obvious ways. One of the things you can do is you can share your location with a family member or friend. So if you are gonna go for that long run and they're not coming with you, at least you can ensure that they know where you are, especially if they haven't heard from you when they thought they would. A lot of these run tracking apps and websites now have features, kind of a beacon feature that can alert them or at least let them follow live where you're running, which is always nice to know that you have that. You can also use a runner's ID bracelet of some kind. This one just goes on your wrist and it has your emergency contacts on there, their phone numbers, and then even if you wanted to put any allergies or anything that if an emergency happened, you would have all the important information there for people to immediately have. Additionally, something to make you feel protected when you're out there alone. So as you start to get tired, knowing that you have another line of defense for you. That can be a can of pepper spray or mace, should you need it. Not just with people, but even if you're out on the trails, running into animals and stuff like that, those kinds of things can be very helpful in making you feel confident. A whistle is always a good idea. Doesn't weigh barely anything and will make sure that if you are needing help, you can get it. If you were to roll your ankle or something like that and couldn't get to the car or get to where you needed to go, you could hopefully contact someone or blow the whistle and get someone to come to your aid. These are all things we have control over. They make us feel stronger, especially when we're on that last leg of the run. We're feeling exhausted. Having all of these things at our disposal will make us feel a little bit more confident when we head out. So let's talk music. When you're in the gym, you're on the treadmill, you can blast your music as loud as you want. You know that you're staying in that one place, nothing's getting in your way, so it's not a safety issue. But if you're out on the road or out on the trails, like I said, there are a lot of other things out of your control that can get in your way. And so it's important that if you are gonna listen to music or your favorite podcast to keep you motivated, you're also being able to hear other things around you, whether it's a siren, etc., the list we already talked about. So a couple options there. You can use your same headphones and then pull one out. You can just turn the volume down a little bit lower to make sure you can hear everything. Or something I really like is these headphones actually don't sit in the earbud. So these Aftershokz ones actually bone conduct for the sound to work, and you can hear everything, but you can also hear and be motivated by your surroundings. And so that kind of lets you do both. So by all means, stay motivated in the way that you need to, especially if you're going out for that long run, but do it in a way that you're not compromising your safety. Last couple practical tips for you, and maybe you haven't heard of some of these before. My first one being, if you do track your runs, especially if you share them on social platforms, make sure you're not starting your runs from your house. That is basically the same thing as announcing your home address on your social media, which I don't think most of you would do. But if someone's following your runs every day and they see you're starting at the same place every single time, they can probably guess where you live. So you don't want to do that, or maybe you could make your tracking private altogether if you don't care about sharing it socially. Lastly, make sure that wherever you do choose to run, it's somewhere you are at least a little bit familiar with or know what to expect. Keep yourself in areas that you feel are safe. If you're in a city, try not to run through dangerous neighborhoods. Keep yourself on the sidewalks, off the main road when you can, especially when you need to be seen by cars and bikes like we talked about. We want running to be fun. This is why you do it in the first place. So the more precautions you can take from the beginning, the more defense you'll have and the more time you'll be able to just focus on the running itself, staying motivated, and getting what you want out of all this training. Again, huge thanks to Aftershokz for bringing this video on running safety to you guys. If you liked this video, make sure you give me that thumbs up and drop any comments or questions you have around running safety or any future video requests in the comments down below. And lastly, subscribe to the channel. We have brand new content coming out each and every week, as you may or may not know, from your 5K all the way up to the marathon, with your running strength, injury prevention, nutrition tips, and everything in between coming out. So make sure you subscribe. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.